Hi guys, it's Claire, welcome back to my channel. I was asked by a lovely viewer the other week to do a flip through of my art journaling pages. So I thought I would do that for you. I did say it was coming soon, I promised it was coming, so here it is. All my art journaling pages, so far all I've done, everything is 6x6, and I'm keeping them at the moment in this wicker basket that sits on the shelf in the studio. I did start putting them all in these sort of homemade ring binder, no, what they called, book ring pages. So I was literally sticking my 6x6 onto a 6x7, piercing the holes at the side and putting it into the book rings. So I've done that twice on 2 books, but now, to be honest, all the rest of them I haven't bothered putting in. I'm sort of just keeping them loose in the basket, and I'm thinking I might actually cut these off of here now and literally just have them that I flick through and they're in here loose. I'm not too sure. I'm not really sure what to do with them, because to be honest, these books aren't ideal because you can't fit that many pages in there. What's that, probably about 10 in there. This one's got a few less, I think. It's probably about 6 or 7 in there, but you're not getting a lot. So I don't know, do I carry on doing it in books or do I just keep them just loose in the basket? I'm not too sure, but either way, anyway, I'm going to give you a flip through so that you get to see all the art journal pages that we've made, or I've made. So these are in no order, they're not in date order, they're just as and when. So I'm just going to zoom you in a bit so that we can put you down on the bottom. Okay, so as I say, these are all 6x6 pages. I work on a mixed media pad, so it's a 12x12 pad that I actually brought in America. I think I bought it in Michael's, and I chop it obviously into 6x6, so I get 4 pieces from each page, which is a nice paper to do any sort of mixed media or watercolouring or painting or anything in the background. I don't always use that. Sometimes I just use normal white cardstock, or sometimes even a piece of black cardstock, but that is my sort of preferred paper. Hold on just one sec, I'm just going to go and get it. Oh, there you go. So this is it here. It's actually a watercolour pad, so it's a nice watercolour card. I won't zoom back out again, but you can see that's a 12x12 pad of watercolour cardstock. It is 300 GSM, £140, and it was actually from Hobby Lobby. So yeah, I picked this up in America, £5.99. I'd imagine I probably used a voucher on it as well, so it certainly wasn't expensive. And there's 12 sheets in there, and as I say, I cut them down into these 6x6 pieces. So that's mainly what everything of mine is done on, but not every single time. Anyway, so let's flip through. This one, I've used ink sprays in the background to get this blue and turquoisey tealy colour background. Popped a textured frame on there, cut out some of the Tim Holtz snowflake dies, used some little metal embellishments and some gems on there, and a little bit of foiling and stamping and everything on there as well. The Christmassy one. This one we used the Tim Holtz, what are they called? Entomology, that's the word. Entomology bugs, and popped those on, made this sort of brick wall background, stuck these onto pieces of cardboard that were painted and distressed and made to look a bit sort of brickwork and blocky. This one was a Lavinia stamp. This is the Green Man Lavinia stamp. So again, distressed ink in the background, some gold foiling around the edge. This is raised up on a circle, and we've stamped that out, added gems into the middle, used the white gel pen to highlight things, and then some little Tim Holtz words. We've got this one where I stamped a jar from, I believe that's Lawn Fawn. The flowers are from Altenew. Die cut some little butterflies. Texture, ripped papers, lots of gold and brown inks and things on there, and this little bow at the side. I think this stamp is from Tim Holtz. We've got this one where we've done the car themed one. Every time I do one of these, it's normally, well, not every time, most times it's themed. It's for a workshop, so this was transport or car themed, a bit like the ATC club we do. When we do our art journaling club, it's themed as well. So again, used cardboard, crinkled up this paper, stamped, lots of spraying, cut out the cogs and heat embossed them with gold and also black. Done a real textury sort of background where I've layered up pieces of card and added some gold brads so it looks sort of rivety. We've got this one, which is using an owl image. This was actually a printed image, which I stuck onto this circle. I inked the background first and then glossy accented over the top. Made the grey background with this swirl, done the edge, and also done these rainbow stars, which if you look, the frame is actually rainbow as well, so the stars are cut from the inside of that, the piece that was the frame on the background. We got this one, which was done using a Minte collection, so lots of little fussy cutting pieces, some leaves, sentiment. We've got lots of glitter going on in the corners here. Really, really pretty page. I like that one. And is that it? Is there one more here? Nope, just an empty page. So that's it for that book. The next book, this was one of the first ones that I actually done, this one, which is an under the sea type one, so using the Tim Holtz stamps again. I think it's the Sea Life collection. Lots of inky splatters, messy texture, embossing going on in the background. The window that I cut from some circle dies, added brads around the outside so it looks like the window is riveted on there. Little anchor, we've got a chain, the acetate window, some of the little micro beads down the bottom. Yeah, just a really nice, this is probably one of my favourites. It did take a long time. As I say, this was one of my first ones, so it was kind of one that I spent a long time doing. This one, again, quite an early one, but not one that I love. I have to say, not a favourite. Done the background, fussy cut all the little letters, I'm sorry, not fussy cut, die cut all the letters and pop those on there. Used Altenew flowers. I don't dislike it, but it's not got a huge amount of texture, so it's not an ultimate favourite. This one, this skull was actually cut from, I'd given this to Alan on a birthday card years and years ago, and he really liked it, so I kept the card. And then I just fussy cut it out, made this background, so a bit of a textured background with all these rays coming out. Lots of inking, stamping, fussy cut out the skull, which has actually got lots of little diamantes and gems and things on there, and stuck it onto the background. So I just couldn't bear to sort of throw that skull away because I quite liked it, and Alan really liked it, so I made it into a page. This one, very much inspired by Vicky Papineau, I think that's how you say her surname, which I always watch. I love her art journaling videos, and she's done one where she had piled up teacups like this and coffee cups, so I sort of was very much inspired by her. Used some stamps in the background to get the coffee stains. This texture, this crisscross texture that you've got here is actually done by using builder's scrim, so it's like a builder's tape that I put on, inked through, and then peeled off the scrim, so you just use it as a sort of stencil or a mask. Lots of painting and splattering, cut out the little coffee beans, and added foam as well for the little sort of foamy hearts on the top of the cups. This one is very much, oh, have I missed one? No, that's right. This one, very much a sort of papery one again. Lots of fussy cutting from a sheet of pretty scrapbooking paper. Done the background with some texture paste through a stencil. Added glitter, paint, ink, and lots of, yeah, glitter and sort of shimmer on this one, but very pretty with the butterflies, and die cut all the words, coloured them and popped those on there. This one was a bit of a fail. I actually done it, and I need to redo it because this is the Tim Holtz Glorious Bouquet, I think it's called, stamp, but it's really bled on this background. The background is an old piece of vintage music paper. I like this going across. I like all the gems. If you look, I've used sort of some old pretty gems on there. I like all this tag part, but where I stamped this stamp onto vintage paper rather than my real paper, it's all just bled out and lost all the detail. So I kind of need to make this background again, maybe peel this off and save this tag part and redo it. But yeah, I haven't got around to it yet. But it was, when I first stamped it, it was beautiful, and then it just sort of smeared and bled and lost all the detail. So a bit of a fail, but it was quite, you know, quite nice to do. And you know, they're not going to all be perfect all the time. I also done some stars on there, some raised stars through a stencil, which are quite nice. Halloween themed one, so Tim Holtz again. This is Tim Holtz pumpkin heads. A big stamp set that I've got, background stamp that is a cobweb. Lots of inking, spraying. We cut out these twigs and leaves individually, die cut. This is all layered up. The pumpkin heads are actually stamped in black and then heat embossed with black as well, so they're sort of a bit raised and a bit textury. Coloured in with the Tim Holtz Distress crayons. This is quite a favourite. I like this one a lot. This one isn't finished yet. These are individually cut clock faces that I had left over from a project, and I've stuck them all on here as a background, but obviously it needs a focal point or needs something else, but I just quite liked the background. I know I'll do something with it eventually. Another one that's probably a favourite, this is the Tim Holtz Crazy Birds. So we inked, sprayed, made this background, done some stenciling, done spraying, blacked around the edges. Lots of texture paste to give the shiny little hearts in the background. Die cut the letters. Stamped, coloured and cut out the little birds. Yeah, really like that one. That's a nice one. This one with the dream catcher, we die cut these dream catchers, sorry, not die cut them on the Silhouette machine, backed them using vellum and stitched around the edge. We had this feather die that I think was from MFT that we then dipped the tips into gold embossing powder. Added pearls, added stitching, very rainbowy background, and we then done this sort of shaped border around the edge as well. It's a very sort of whimsical, I like that one, really pretty colours, and I love all the stitching on there. I think this is the only one I've done stitching on, I'm not sure if we had stitching anywhere else. The robots, so again a Tim Holtz stamp set, lots of grungy work in the background, so paints, stencils, splatters, everything, you name it. I sort of tend to do the backgrounds all very grungy. Die cut all of these cogs. Again, these are a Tim Holtz stamp set, and I've die cut them in silver foil cardstock. I've then added brads and things into the middle of some of them, which I then actually squished down. I run this through my Big Shot machine to try and flatten it down because this was all very warped, and of course I stupidly didn't think that all these brads would go flat. I don't know how I didn't think of that, but anyway, they all went flat. But I don't dislike them, it's fine. It's just little central elements to the cogs. It doesn't really matter that they're not raised anymore. Yeah, and then stamped, coloured and cut out the robots and popped those on. Quite a nice one with lots of texture. This is quite a favourite because I do love anything that's butterflies. So again, lots of ink distress sprays in the background, blacked around the edge. These circles were actually cut from the Silhouette on the Silhouette machine. They're like a messy drawn circle. It was actually one circle, so I've cut it here, used that bit up there. Added some gold patina on them, stamped and cut out the butterflies. I think coloured them with distress crayons again. Added little sequins as well. And you've got the stenciled goodness in the background there. Yeah, that's a fave, I like that one. Autumn Leaves one, this was inspired by one that I saw on the internet where they'd use this very striking autumny colour combo with white and black, so it kept it really vivid, which I liked. So we cut out all these leaves, inked them, distressed them, scrunched them up, sprayed them with water, added black around the edge, made them all really messy looking, like crumpled up old leaves. Our background was texture for a stencil, painted white, added black around the edge, added splatters, black splatters, and also done these sort of washed colours as well. And then we've put some gauze in there just for added texture, printed out the sentiment off the internet, which was actually already coloured, so the colours that we've used we tried to match from those colours. And yeah, really like this one, lots of texture, and love the sort of crumpled up leaves. So that's a really nice one, again a fave. So that's my two books. Now I've got all the individual ones. So we've got this one, which I think is probably my most recent one. So Tim Holtz again. It's always very much Tim Holtz goodies because I just enjoy playing with the Tim Holtz stuff. Tim Holtz paper dolls, people, lots of individually cut cogs, lots of metal embellishments, painted with a metallic paint. The background is also actually run through an embossing folder that I've got that gives these cogs and things, the cogs and gears on there. Lots of them piled up and stuck on top of each other, painted with metallic paint, rubbed with some metallic wax, gilding wax and patina and everything on there, stuck metal bits on. Yeah, that's it. Lots of sort of playing in the background and getting lots of layers of those cogs and gears on there. This one, again using the Tim Holtz paper dolls. This is one where we've done the camera or photography type theme. So we've cut out some vintage cameras from the internet, stamped this sentiment, put it into a Polaroid frame, made it look all old, wrinkly and cracked, and then went over with glossy accents. Cut out these film reels that we aged and popped on there. We done stars in the background. Obviously the whole background was also inked, sprayed, painted. These bits were all cut out from the Silhouette cameo, and this is a Lawn Fawn die, and again using a Tim Holtz paper doll. This one is not one of my favourites. I don't hate it, there's just something about it that I don't love. I think there's just not enough difference in colour. It's all a bit pale and wishy-washy, which is fine. That's sort of the look I was kind of going for, but I don't love it now I've done it. So lots of painting and texture in the background. We've got a mixture of paper on here, or card on here, that we've die cut, stuck down, painted over. Also some stenciling as well. painted around the edge. I die cut this word create and then stuck it on, but you can see that my glue has actually bled into the paint, which obviously I don't love that. Again, die cut letters. We made the tag which we die cut. We used some paper flowers that we painted. I don't know, I sort of like every part of it, but I don't like the way it's come together, but I'm not going to get rid of it. It's going to stay in the pile, but it's not a favourite. This one I like. We made this one recently. It's again Tim Holtz using the, I believe it's called Ticket Booth stamps and dies, and also this little pocket you get, which is you buy it separately, but it's also Tim Holtz, so you can tuck all these little tickets in. Lots of texture. We used Tim Holtz paper in the background that we inked over, painted over, printed out the sentiment, cut it apart and inked it all, popped it on there, and lots of layered up tickets. Every one of these tickets was individually stamped, coloured and die cut. And as I say, lots of texture on here, really, really nice. And yeah, and love that they're all sort of piled up and textury. I really like that one. We've got a Lavinia one, where we use the Lavinia stamps to make this fairy page. My ink has faded a little bit and it's not quite as dark black as I would like. My fairy stayed black, but here it's sort of sunk into the oxide inks in the background. But overall, I still think this is really pretty. I like this one. And I will definitely buy some more Lavinia stamps and do more Lavinia art journal pages. I think they're a nice thing to do for art journaling. So yeah, oxide inks in the background, made it out in circles, dark around the edge. Lots of little flower and plant stamping. Stamped the sentiment, stamped the fairy, and added some little sparkles in there if you can see. But yeah, I'll do like. Next one is this bird one. This one was a bird stamped from, oh, I can't remember actually. Don't actually know where that bird is from, but he's stamped and fussy cut out, coloured in, painted. We used the jelly plate on the background of this one to do the background, so we've lifted this pattern from the jelly plate. Lots of stamping. I think this is actually a hobby art bird. Used paper flowers again, which we've distressed, made them look old, added little twirls of the green wire in there to give dimension, printed out a sentiment from the internet. And yeah, as I say, it was more about the jelly plate technique in the background for this one. Quite like that one. This one that we done using or repurposing jigsaw puzzle pieces. So I visited all the local charity shops and found some old jigsaw puzzles. We then stuck them all down onto a 6x6 piece of card and painted all over them with this sort of ombre colour. And then splatters as well, water splatters. Went over them with a black distress as well to highlight the edges. Painted some of them black, popped them on top, and then just printed out this quote and stuck it in the middle in a frame. But this is really nice, and obviously it's really solid because it's real jigsaw puzzle pieces, but I like that one. And last one to share with you is this one here, which I actually made. It's quite an early one that I done. So lots of texture in the background, vintage music paper, paint sprayed on and then sort of tilted so that it all drips and runs in all different directions. We've got some of the lovely, I think Maggie Holmes flowers that are pre-cut out, pre-done for you flowers. I've also done some die cut leaves. A wooden heart that I painted, made white, glossy, and then added gold around the edge of. We've got a butterfly there that's also painted and rubbed gold on there. I think a Tim Holtz butterfly. I don't think that came from a vintage book. I think it was from the Tim Holtz ephemera pack, and then a lovely brass key in the middle as well. So that is it. That's all my pages. So I hope you like that. Let me know what one your favourite is or what one you least like. But yeah, they're really good fun to make actually. I'm really surprised that I like making these as much as what I do, but they're brilliant to make. So yeah, let me know which one you like best, and let me know if you think I should carry on putting them in the books or if I should just leave them that you flick through in the basket. But yeah, I hope you like that. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know if you've got any other video requests that you'd like to see. It's really nice when you suggest things that you'd like me to do, so I'm more than happy to do it for you. Yeah, thanks very much. Please subscribe, give it a thumbs up if you haven't already, and I shall see you very soon. Bye.